Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Heart Talks with Holly. I'm Holly. This is Lucy. Lucy typically doesn't join me for these talks because I usually try to do them in the morning while everybody's at kindergarten, but life did not go according to plan today, so she's wanting to help me. Yeah. Are you going to help me? Yeah. So we were going to talk about what it's like to try to set boundaries for people who are overly empathetic and sensitive, as I am. And I think based off of our last conversation, several of you are too. If you aren't sure if you're someone who tends to be overly empathetic or sensitive, or you think you might be but you're not sure, some of those things can look like putting yourself in someone else's shoes and then taking several laps in those shoes. Essentially living out what they are going through, taking on whatever pain they have and adding it on to your own life. And being empathetic is beautiful. It is a wonderful thing. It is we are at a time in this world where those who are empathetic and sensitive really step up and say, I am willing to understand what it is that you're going through. Thank you. Yeah. And because it's rare to have a big group of people wanting to understand for the common good. So being someone who's really empathetic and sensitive is a wonderful and beautiful thing, and we talked about last time how it is, in a way, it's a superpower that you have. The thing that can happen, though, is when we become overly empathetic and put ourselves in someone else's shoes and take on all of those things that they're experiencing, we can experience that and end up not taking care of ourselves like we should be. And when really we've got to focus on the things that are going on with us and get that stuff worked out first, and then being able to help someone else. It's like when you go on a plane and they say to, if the masks should fall down, to put your mask on first, the adults, and then help the kids. It's sort of the same thing. Is get yourself in a healthy place where you're able to do that, and then you can look to help someone else. So I said that we were going to talk about boundaries today, and we are, but rather than tell you what kind of boundaries I feel like you should set, because we all have different experiences, I just wanted to pose a few questions, and then I would love it if you responded to each of these, or however you wish to share. These are always anonymous, the sharing, so please feel free to do that. But if you don't feel comfortable, that's fine, but I would encourage you to try to really think through this. So the first thing is to identify what's going on. So what is it when you are empathizing with someone? At what point do you start reacting? At what point are red flags going up? Are alarms sounding that you are unsafe? That you're going to cry? That you're going to react? React positively or negatively, overwhelmingly. What does that look like? So first question is, our first challenge rather, is take some time and identify the theme you see happening when you are overly empathizing with someone. An example of that could just be the word pain. For me, pain is triggering. But you can go deeper than that. So then, after you clarify what it is that really affects you, did I say identify? After you identify what really affects you, then clarify what it is that is at the heart of that. So does it have to do with family? Does it have to do with animals? Does it have to do with loss, grief? What kind of pain is it that is really affecting you? And then learn how to articulate that. Are you able to articulate what's going on? If someone were to ask you, what is triggering for you about this movie or this conversation, how would you respond? So being able to go step by step and saying, pain, and it's in this category, and this is how I experience it. That really gives the other person hearing it a really great understanding of what it is you're going through, and hopefully your ability to share your empathy with that person then goes to them. They can then like borrow that from you and hopefully demonstrate empathy towards you at the same time. Now, not everyone's going to do that, but the ultimate hope is that we share these strengths with others around us so that they can learn from that and then share it with others around them. So what I would love for you to do, if you're interested, is to share with me, hey, Holly, I identified that that when I tend to overly empathize, this is what really leads me down a path that's hard to get out of. Or, Holly, okay, I've identified the issue and now I'm going to clarify. I'm just discovered I'm able to clarify this, that, and the other within that umbrella. And then articulate it. Try to